Welcome to another episode of the Tom Green Podcast. I'm Tom Green, and today on the show we have the amazing, the incredible Jeff Ross. You know Jeff from Bumping Mics with Dave Attell. You know him from the Celebrity Roasts. He's the Roast Master General, and you know him from his amazing stand-up comedy tours and films and television work that he's done over the years. So Jeff Ross and I have known each other since the early days of MTV, when I came to the United States of America for the very first time back in 1999 when the Tom Green Show premiered. Jeff Ross was doing stand-up on the Spring Break Cruise with MTV and was doing lots of cool stuff at MTV, and we got to know each other then, and we now are neighbors in a sense. We live pretty close to each other here in Los Angeles, and we're both quarantined, isolating, I guess you call it, during this coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. And before Jeff calls in, he's going to be calling in any second. I just want to say, man, this is weird. This is really weird. I haven't left the house since the podcast started going daily. I get up in the morning, I make some coffee, I do a little exercise, I walk around the house, I touch my toes, I eat a granola bar, and then kind of get to work. I'm doing a lot of writing right now. I'm working on stand-up. New ideas for my upcoming comedy shows, tours, and special. I'm going to work on a special. I'm going to do a special. And it's going to be, I think after we get through all this crap, it's going to be a good year. I feel optimistic that after we get through this insane thing that's happening, where every person in America and Canada and all over the world right now, in England and the UK, all over Asia, Spain, Italy, people are afraid. Australia, people are afraid. People are isolating. People don't know what this virus is. They don't know how it's going to react. They don't know if it's going to mutate. We don't know what's happening. This isn't one of those crises where you don't really feel like you're affected by it. This is something that's affecting everybody. And I truly do believe that when we get past this, and we will, because we're going to beat this thing, and when we do, I think all of us are going to have this collective shared experience. All of us meaning everybody in all walks of life. And I think that's going to bring us together closer as a society, and I do believe that good will come from this. So if you're out there in the world and you're listening and you're afraid or don't know what this is going to mean or confused, I would just say that this too shall pass, and everything will come back to the way that we did know before. So I want this podcast to be a little glimmer, a glimpse of hope and a distraction. And I think as I start doing more and more of these episodes, I'm going to start bringing some more goofiness back too. I just think we're in this initial week right now of being in a worldwide pandemic that's actually starting to affect us for real here in America and in Canada for the first time. And we're realizing that this is something that is actually scary, and people are going to be getting very sick. And I'm in out of respect to those people that are going to get very sick. I'm not goofing around too much right now and trying to keep this as real as possible. And I do think there will be moments of levity and absurdity, though, within these conversations. And as we get a handle on it, it's going to get real weird around here, especially after we get past this. And I do plan to continue doing the podcast regularly once that occurs, once this whole virus pandemic is behind us. Can't believe that I'm saying this still. Even as I'm saying it, I can't believe it. But I am. And we have to roll with the punches and we have to move forward because there's nothing we can do about it but move forward. So that's what we're going to do. Thanks for listening, everybody. I love you guys, and I hope you're all safe out there. If you have any questions or any concerns or any thoughts that you want to share with me, you can leave a comment on my Instagram or on my Twitter or on my Facebook. I check them all, and let's stay connected here. We're all in this together, okay? Jeff Ross, of course, also from the Thick Skin podcast. Jeff Ross is on the phone with us now. Jeff.
Hey, bud.
Mr. Jeff Ross, how are you?
How you doing?
I'm doing okay, considering that we're in quarantine during a pandemic. So yeah, I'm doing okay. How about yourself? This is nuts.
I'm still online to vote.
What's that? Yeah, we ran into each other.
I'm still online to vote.
Yeah, that was.
Now I'm off the voting. Now I'm off the voting line, and I'm on the marijuana store line.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, that's a good line to be in right now. I mean, that's a. Are you afraid? Are you scared? How are you handling this personally?
I have moments of all that, and then moments of sheer delight that I'm laying around in my underwear for 2 weeks. Yeah. And when you're a traveling comedian, that's so rare that I'm not packing a bag and on the road, and I haven't shaved and haven't worn a bra in almost 2 weeks.
We're like 4 or 5 days into this. Is this the longest you've gone without being on stage? In
4 or 5 days. It feels like it's got to be 2 weeks. Isn't it been 2 weeks?
Maybe it's been 2 weeks. I'm talking about I haven't left the house in 5 days. But how long has it been?
Oh.
How long has it been since you were last on stage doing a stand-up set?
It's probably been about 2 weeks. But this is today's Monday. I would say 8 days ago, I drove by an open mic in the Valley, and I saw the door was open, and I'd never been there. So I just went in, saw about 15 comics all spread out through a giant room.
Really? Was it
social distancing and performing for each other? And I did go on stage for about 2 or 3 minutes.
Wow, it was like a stand-up coronavirus speakeasy kind of thing, like an illegal stand-up room during the.
It was sort of like that. And
weird.
I had my dog with me. I was walking the dog, and I put the Luna.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I put the doggy do plastic bag that I carry in my pocket. I put it over the microphone so I wouldn't get germs.
Yeah, no, I mean you have to. What's it feel like though for you? It's just kind of like you. First of all, I mean we all had our shows and we're touring. You're supposed to be bumping mics with Dave Attell somewhere right now. I mean, do you feel?
Yeah.
Just sort of, do you feel physically different, not getting that adrenaline rush every night and getting up on stage? I mean, do you feel, is it affecting you emotionally?
That's a good question. Whenever I don't have a show, my whole career, 30 years, when it hits about 9, 10 o'clock and it's dark out, and if I don't have a show, I do start roasting inanimate objects or friends and family, whoever's around me.
Absolutely.
So it's been tricky from that perspective. But I think it's good. It's not bad to take a break. I took a stand-up break about 2 years ago for 6 months just to make sure that I didn't need it, that I owned it. It didn't own me. And, I'm going to do some writing and, you mentioned Dave Attell. I missed him, so I had him call into my podcast this week. So you get a little bit of that adrenaline rush. You get a little bit of that feeling, but inevitably it's kind of like this. It's like you're really just reaching out to buddies. Comedians were like a cult. when I see a comedian walking down the street or rolling through my Instagram feed, I immediately can't help but reach out and check in with them. So even calls like this right now on your podcast, I feel like it's not so much comedy as it is bonding and cathartic and time to check in with pals.
Yeah, I have this feeling that although this is the most horrifying and scary and strange thing that's happened in our lifetime, certainly, I feel like something is going to come from this. I don't like to say something good is going to come from it, but I feel like everybody is going through this collective, rethinking of how life works right now. And I don't think that's ever happened in history where, certainly in our lifetime, where everybody in America and around the world right now is thinking about priorities, and we're all taking off work at the same time. Do you think that's going to impact the world in some sort of strange and hopefully optimistic way?
I think you're right. I think it helps you reset. If you're a creative person, you download some new inspiration. You have a new chapter of your life that closes as this new one opens. I think a lot of young people, maybe even older people, know how to use Facebook and Netflix, and they're equipped for sort of isolation, if you will. And people are learning how to cook. Like, I'm learning a little bit more about the kitchen, which I hadn't really spent time in years and years and years. And I mean, I'm not going to lie. There's elements that are quite nice.
What have you been cooking, and what kind of food do you have? Are you doomsday preppered up so that, if this gets crazy, you don't have to leave the house for a year? Or are you going to be calling Grubhub in a week? Or do you have a lot of supplies in there? Have you done anything to prepare for this?
No, I don't have a lot of supplies. I wish I did, but I've been figuring it out, if you will. Like, I have no hand sanitizer, but I have 30 rolls of paper towels.
Nice. Okay.
I have plenty of hand soap, but not a lot of pasta.
Yeah.
I didn't plan this out very well. So,
yeah.
I'm learning to warm food up as opposed to microwave stuff.
Yeah.
So that's a big advancement for me, who's been a bachelor my whole life. I'm learning to I guess just in general, be okay with staying at home, like enjoying the idea of, hey, I'm lucky I got a nice place. There's been times in my life where I really lived in a rat hole.
Yeah.
So this is at least, I can stretch out and do a little yoga and stare at nature. And that's been really good. So I'm a silver linings guy, Tom. I'm trying to see, whatever positives I can. I'm also, sad that my tour is gone and sad I'm not seeing the fans, but also happy that I get to bond with my lady and have some solemn solo Jeff time too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it really is kind of a shame that, and talk about a sort of a irony, really, that stand-up comedians can't tour right now at a time when people across the world need it most. People need to have a good laugh, and I started my podcast up again just to kind of, for myself too, just for a catharsis for myself every day. I'm like you, I'm in my house. I'm not really leaving the house, and I needed something to do, and I thought it would be good for me to focus on this. And then I've been finding I'm having people callers calling in, and I'm talking to people, and that's kind of helping me. And I want to give people something to laugh at. And so, I appreciate you calling too. I mean, this is like, people are going to be excited to hear you are doing good, and everyone's going to be stoked about that. But I mean, like, what do we? What
you and I have been checking in with each other since before you were doing the podcast. So this is a natural extension of our friendship. So
yeah, I mean,
I'm glad you're doing that.
Yeah, I just felt like who knows what's going to go down here. I'm like you. I'm remaining optimistic. I'm hoping that that people are going to behave well in our society, and that this is going to be find some sort of a natural or resolution in the next few months, I hope, and but we're neighbors, right? We're neighbors. If it's good to know that you're over there. If you need any help, I got some granola bars and stuff. If you ever need
Yeah.
anything, just let me know.
Thank you, buddy. That might, we laugh about it, but now you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, now that I hear that you're all you got is 30 rolls of toilet paper and a bowl of pasta, you might have to get some food from over here if you need it. But
I might.
What
are you right? Are you trying to be creative other than the podcast? Are you painting or writing or?
Well, I've got
I've
got my recording studio, so I'm making some dope hip hop beats. And I'm working on that, and I've got Pro Tools, so I'm going into Pro Tools, and I'm learning a lot of the ins and outs of the program, like the really micro details that I never had time to figure out. It's weird, and this is what I've been saying to my friends. I've talked to a lot of people this week. I talked to Anthony Scaramucci yesterday. I was on with Harland Williams called in. Chris Angel was on the other day, and we've been talking a lot about what do we do with our creative energy. Chris Angel's doing magic on his Instagram, and what do we do with all that energy, all that pent up energy and creativity that we normally put into our shows, and so I'm doing things that. And I don't know if this is like this for you, but when we're on the road so much, there's often this thing in the back of my mind where I'm thinking, man, if I could just be home for a couple of months, I'd finally figure out how Pro Tools really works, But and I come home for 3 days, I never really get a chance to do it. Man, I really would like to learn Spanish, So I downloaded that Babbel app, and I'm gonna work on my Spanish, Might practice guitar a little bit, try to get a few more licks on the guitar going, but I don't know. And the other thing that I'm doing, and I want to talk to you about something about this, which is a bit more serious, is I've been on the phone a lot with my friends who think a lot about the world and are thinking about what's going on, and we're just trying to figure this shit out. Like, we're trying to figure out the science of this virus and how far is it going to spread, and what's going to happen if people aren't paying attention and are going outside and disobeying and not following the rule, not washing their hands. Is this going to spread? Is it going to get really big, or is this going to be over in 3 months or 18 months? What are your thoughts? What do you think is going to happen with this, and how are we going to stop this damn thing?
Well, when it comes to this stuff, I'm a follower. If they tell me stay home, I'm going to stay home. I'm not going to be a daredevil. You fantasize in your head about your buddy stopping by or this and that. Let me go visit this person. It won't be too bad, or I'll walk through the mall and see who's around, and then you just don't do it. So it's okay to entertain it for a second, but the quicker I resign and acceptance, to me, I'm going to listen to the experts. I'm not going to try to pretend I understand it. What my job, I always feel like is to reach out to my friends and make sure they're okay. Keep the couple of people that work for me, keep their money coming in too, and try to be creative in my own little bursts. My podcast, Thick Skin, I always say life is hard. Let's get we're getting through it together. So I've been on this tip for a long time. When we always pay tribute to people who pass away on the podcast. So the idea of healing through comedy, I mean, this is something that I've always been a big believer in. So I love that everybody else is stepping up, doing live streams like you do in your podcast. I'm good. I'm a good audience.
Yeah.
And as far as these John Lennon celebrity videos, I just want to say that I do. The one positive note is that John Lennon is not alive to see this.
the Imagine celebrity. Look at my marble floors in my mansion mashup. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I get a kick. In other words, I love watching everybody be resourceful. I've almost been able to turn off my comic persona and just become a fan. and watch the late night hosts do their shows from their house.
Yeah, yeah. It's like
And I'm
remember we used to.
watching Norm Macdonald. Yeah, I mean it's fun.
Yeah, yeah. What are you? That's what I wanted to say. What are you watching? What kind of videos you're watching? There's so many crazy videos flying around, weird, funny videos flying around, and then the late night hosts. Who are you watching right now, and where should people go look at stuff?
I love watched Jimmy Kimmel's Formal Friday the other day on his Instagram. He got dressed up in his own house with his family and did a formal dinner.
Oh my God!
So funny.
Yeah.
And I got a big kick out of seeing David Spade try out his monologue jokes from his kitchen table, and just even my buddies who were just texting me nonsense all the time. It's just fun. It's fun to be able to. I mean, let's face it. This virus, as sad as it is, and I'm not trying to, make light of the actual sick people, of which I know quite a few at this point. I think everybody knows somebody who's sick. So this is what we call foxhole humor, like war zone humor, that my friends and I will send back and forth. And you can't help it. You all see the jokes and the memes, and like comedy really does help you get through. If we don't laugh, we cry,
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you think's going to happen? How long do you think we're going to be in this mess?
I think in 2 months, today's National Puppy Day. I don't know if you saw that on Instagram.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
I think in 2 to 3 months, our cute dogs are going to survive by eating our dead bodies.
Yeah.
I think people are going to get in line. I think people are going to get in line. In other words, they're going to self quarantine. They're going to do what we're doing, staying in our house. And I know that it's really challenging for people in abusive relationships and people that are used to going to school to escape crazy parents and all that kind of thing. But I do think for the most part, people will isolate and the virus will die and we will persevere and go on. That's what I think is going to happen.
How worried are you about getting sick? Because I know they say that sometimes you get sick, you don't have any symptoms, but then of course some people get sick and they get it really bad. I'm personally very worried about getting sick, to the point that I feel kind of like I'm living sort of a Howard Hughes type experience here. I'm washing everything. I'm ordering stuff on Amazon now because I don't want to go to the grocery store anymore. So I'm ordering stuff on Amazon, which is weird because I find this weird. I realized and this is probably going to sound strange, but I'd never used Amazon before, which is, I know people say, what? You've never used Amazon before? I'd never used Amazon before. Sorry, I've never used Amazon before. I'd go to the grocery store. I'd go to a store and buy things, now I'm using Amazon, and, like I went on there the other night and I sort of, in a spontaneous sort of doomsday prepper mode, bought a 10-pound bag of rice and, a 24 pack of canned corn, because, I need to have a year's supply of food just in case this gets bad. And now, having never used, having never used Amazon, now I'm waiting for my canned corn to get delivered for the first time. And I'm really excited about it. Like, I'm really excited that there is a case of canned corn getting delivered to my house right now. It should be arriving any day now, and it feels like Christmas to me. So
yeah, you get to see your Amazon. I mean, shout out to the delivery people. Although they are making mistakes, because I woke up today and there was 2 chicken Chipotle tacos on my front doorstep delivered, and I don't know. I did not order them.
Yeah, so, and here's the thing. Like, do you not touch that? Like, I don't. I am not touching, like, when something gets delivered. I don't touch it. This is another conundrum. I want to use rubber gloves to pick it up and then spray Lysol on it, but I don't have any rubber gloves. So I ordered rubber gloves on Amazon, but I don't know how I'm going to get them out of the box. But I think I need rubber gloves to get to my rubber gloves. But I think what I understand is the virus can live on surfaces for 24 hours on cardboard, 2 or 3 days on 2 days on plastic and 3 days on stainless steel or something like that. So one thing that I've been talking to people about and been told that you can do is when the package from Amazon arrives, you can pick it up with rubber gloves if you have them, and then put them in a room that you don't use, and put the package in a room you don't use, and just leave it in that room for 3 days, and then it should be free and clear of the virus. So that, and then wash your hands, of course, immediately after you touch it very thoroughly with warm water and soap. So this is the level of, I don't want to say paranoia because I think it's what we're actually supposed to do, but this is the level I'm taking it to right now. Are you taking it to that level, or are you kind of a little?
No, as a matter of fact, I'm taking the phone into the sink right now because now I'm paranoid. I'm going to wash my hands.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so wash your hands, especially if you do go out. Wash them. Well, I mean, I'm not going out, but when I did go to the grocery store on my last run to the grocery store, I had some hand sanitizer, and immediately after I picked up all the food and put it in my cart, I washed my hands with the sanitizer, came home, and immediately took a shower. Actually, just and took the clothes I was wearing and threw them in the wash. So it's strange because we're living in this world where now I'm thinking, okay, and I'm not going to leave the house, but we could get sick from anything, and it's kind of worrisome. And people that are, out there are starting to kind of wonder what they're supposed to do. So I was wondering what you're doing and if you're doing anything like that.
I'm just trying to be mindful. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not even driving around. I might walk the dog for a couple of blocks. I'm not saying hi to new people, unless it's, from across the street.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah.
I'm trying to be neighborly, but Seth Green is a friend of mine. He's my neighbor, and we did meet down by the fence, and have a chit chat and a smoke from like 6 feet away, 10 feet away.
Yeah, nice.
To a fence. So I'm trying to, I don't know, make my life a little less complicated. I'm not flying around touring right now. So as much as I miss it, I'm also going, wow, maybe my body needed this rest. I'm trying to eat a little healthier. I'm trying not to get fat and stupid, not drinking as much as I would if I was on tour, not partying as much. So there's that. I mean, I'm not treating it like a vacation. I'm just sort of treating it as a rest.
Are you going to be recording a lot of podcasts right now where people will be able to check out what you're doing and going through over there on your podcast? Yeah. So.
Yeah. Thick Skin with Jeff Ross on iTunes, on YouTube. You were nice enough to come on a couple of weeks ago and talk about our experience voting in your first U.S. presidential election.
Absolutely.
The podcast is fun because they're cathartic. They're not just about the jokes and this, and ours is also cathartic, and it's kind of what you're doing with yours and checking in with people. And that's like, maybe this is the age of podcasting. It is the age of parenting because everybody's homeschooling right now. It is the age of Amazon and delivery. It is the age of Netflix because everybody's home watching Tiger King and everything else.
Oh yeah, I saw you tweeted about that, and I actually started watching Tiger King the other night too, and that is definitely a good one.
Yeah. Have you ever seen anything quite like that?
You know what? I actually think I met that guy, the main guy, years ago when I was doing the show on MTV, and we were driving around the country, and we went to his tiger farm, and I met that guy.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah. We did some sort of bit with him. I can't find it, but I'm talking 15 years ago.
Wow. Was there anything weird about him then?
Just all
he was a tiger guy.
Just all the same stuff, He had tigers, and he was the same guy. Because I immediately remembered him when I saw it come on. I thought, oh, that's the same guy. But I mean, can you imagine if this happened right now and we didn't have Netflix, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have social media. We'd be sitting at home watching Starsky and Hutch all day.
You'd be sticking your Die Hard 3 VHS in there for one more.
which would not be bad. Would not be bad, actually. That's a pretty good movie.
It's I mean, we've been preparing for this for a long time.
Yeah, I think something.
FaceTime, like everything. They have robots that drop shit off at your house. I mean, we're ready for this.
Yeah,
more than we've ever been.
I really truly feel something that we never could have imagined is going to come from this. When we all come out of this, whatever isolation, quarantine, whatever you want to call it, phases we're in right now, and the Comedy Store opens up again, and the Laugh Factory and the improvs and the clubs, and we're on the road, and everything's back to normal, and we're all gonna have everybody we know, every single person we know, whether it's someone that you are working in the club with, other comics, a waiter, a Uber driver, everybody we know has all gone through this thing together, and we're going to have this shared experience, and that's going to have some sort of positive impact. I'm sure of it.
That's a great outlook, my friend.
Yeah.
It's like 9/11, but funnier.
Yeah. Oh shit. Oh man, Jeff. Listen, I appreciate you and thank you for talking to me and to all of the listeners. We're just doing, we're not making these too long. I just wanted to check in with you and make sure you
perfect, man.
Make sure you're okay. And we've known each other a long time, man. It's going way back to when I first moved to the U.S. and on MTV, and it's sort of bizarre. Here we are 25 years later, and who would have thought this was going to happen, right? Things were going so good, All right.
Life is so funny that way, buddy. Well, take care of yourself and call me if you need anything.
All right, Jeff. Stay safe, man. Seriously, let me know if you need anything, and let's be in touch off the air too. Okay.
All right. Thanks, pal.
All right. Cheers, bud. Bye. That was the Roastmaster General, Jeff Ross, and thank you, Jeff, for coming on the show. You can check out Jeff on all social media. He's very active on Twitter and Instagram, and he's got an amazing podcast that he records at his home in Los Angeles. Thick Skin with Jeff Ross. I was a guest last week. Go listen to our episode. And let's also tell some people about this podcast too. How about it, everybody? Everybody out there listening, do me a favor. If you're enjoying these shows, do me a favor and post them on your Facebook, post them on your Twitter and on your Instagram. You can find the podcast in all sorts of places. It's not just in one place. It's on tomgreen.com, but it's even easier to subscribe actually on Spotify or on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, or on Google, or on iHeartRadio, or anywhere that you listen to podcasts. But I think those are some of the main spots, and there's a whole bunch of other spots too. So if you can go on there and subscribe, first of all, so you listen to every episode, but also if you can tell some people about this. And I'll report back. I'll tell you if the ratings are going up or down. I will say that since I've started doing it every week, things are going pretty good. Ratings are going up. And if you guys tell a whole bunch of people after I'm asking you to do that right now, I will know if you did or not, because I'm going to go look at my little server and it's going to say whether there's more or less people listening. And I guess the reason why I would ask you to do that and why you would want to do that is because I know that everybody that is listening at this point, we're 35, 40 minutes into this podcast, and if you're still listening, you're probably somebody that has been a good fan of mine for a long time. I don't think anybody who who is not a fan of what I do would still be listening at this point. That's not true, though. You could be just a huge Jeff Ross fan, and now you're just sort of suffering through the monologue at the end. Okay. Well, if you're that person, I hope I won you over too. But the point I'm saying is that if you're still listening now, then you probably are a fan of what I do. And if this podcast takes off, because you can all let some people know and they let some people know, that's going to give me the opportunity to do some more cool stuff. Like tour to more cities, come to your town, maybe make some more funny TV shows and films. Maybe make a Freddy Got Fingered sequel. Who knows? It's something I've been thinking about. There's a lot of people asking, you gonna make a sequel to Freddy Got Fingered? I would do it. If anybody wanted to make that movie, meaning pay for that, movie studio or something like that, if they wanted to pay for that, some crazy person, I would do it. So that's a good reason to tell your friends about the podcast. Let's make this show a hit, and then we'll go do some really crazy shit. All right? Love you guys. Thanks for listening, and we're going to see you tomorrow. Okay. Be safe.